Welcome to Cornerstone Church. Here are today's announcements. Our annual business meeting is coming up on Sunday, February 20th after second service. If you are a member, please make every effort to be present. And don't worry, families, child's care will be provided. Nomination ballots are available this week and the following week. Please note that nomination ballots are due Sunday, February 13th at noon. You may put the ballots in the offering buckets located at either side of the sanctuary when you are finished. Every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. right here, our students, grades 6 through 12, meet to connect, worship, and hear a message from Pastor AJ and Heather. You don't want to miss it. Anchored Women launches this week. Join us this Tuesday night starting at 7 p.m. as the women of Cornerstone come together to worship and study God's Word. It's a new year, which means we are updating our database and we need your help. Please update your information by scanning the QR code in the backseat in front of you or filling the form portion at the bottom. When you are done, feel free to drop it in the offering buckets located in either side of the sanctuary. The Gathering is a young adult event on February 25th. If you're between the ages of 18 and 29, we'd love for you to join us at Bethel Christian Church in Bristol, Connecticut at 6:30 p.m. Would you give up sugar to experience the sweet presence of God in a deeper way? Many of us know about maintaining a healthy lifestyle, but what about a healthy spirit? Join Shyla and Kip Anderson on Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. starting Monday, February 28th. They will lead both men and women through the 40-day sugar fast by Wendy Speak, a process that begins with us giving Jesus our sugar and ends with Jesus giving us more of himself, the only thing that can ever satisfy our soul's deepest hunger. Love and Respect is a wonderful series that is sure to help you build a strong marriage that is life-giving and lasts. Nick and Dina DeLugo are a power duo, and they will lead us in a 5-week series called Love and Respect. The series starts Sunday, February 20th at 6 p.m. You can register online or by scanning the QR code in the backseat in front of you. We hope to see you there. Have a great week.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Daily Devotions with Pastor Chris. I am your host, Pastor Chris, and today is episode 604. So good morning, Jeanette. Wow, good morning. Good to have you. First one on Instagram, Tamara. Good to see you. Sarah Carlack, Samantha Indris, Esther Grantham, Narda Allen, Kim Kasikelski, Melissa Yerington, Tony Fetching. God bless you all. Welcome. Thank you for being on today. Over here on Facebook and YouTube, let's see who we got here. We got a bunch of people. Don and John and Tim and Rocco and Renee and Michelle and Jenny and Eileen and Elizabeth and Mike B and Julie Chandler and Marika and Attila and Gene Hickman and Matt Gill and Margaret West Maynor. God bless you. You're recovering from surgery, Margaret. Well, we need to say little prayers for you. God bless you, Diane Riley. Thanks for jumping on. Susan Hotchkiss, Carly Papsco, Rich, Deb Click. Good to see you guys. Welcome, all of you. Welcome, Jenny Lynn, Woot Woot, Jenna Wills, Scott Dobler, and more to come. Daniel Lozovikas, good to see you, bud. Welcome, everybody. You know, it was funny the other day. My son was mimicking me. He was pretending like he was jumping on DDPC. We were kind of sitting around having lunch together, and he starts just rattling off some of the regulars, some of your names, and he was like, "Welcome to Cornerstone Church," and he was roasting me, and so yeah, I appreciated that. But anyway, it's all right. You gotta have thick skin to be in ministry and to be a father of teenagers. Ben Smith, good to see you, bud. So guys, listen, right over here, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can see that scan code. That scan code is for all of you who go to Cornerstone Church and have not already updated your information for our database. Please click that, take a minute, and update your information so that we have the most current information. Even if you think we've got the most current information, assume nothing, because we are resetting our entire database, and we've had a tremendous response so far. Do not get left behind. God bless you. Heather Honor-Frio, good to see you. Anita Finkel, thanks for being on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, guys. Well, I was a little bit late jumping on this morning, only because I was waiting on my coffee to finish. So, cheers. We are in part 3 of our series called Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, and we're talking about it's all kind of based off of the Revelation 2:4, where Jesus is speaking to the churches, and he talks to the church in Ephesus and says, "Listen, you have got it all together on the outside, but you've lost sight of your first love. You've abandoned the thing that really got you to where you are today. You need to get back to doing the things you did in the beginning." And this is a great lesson for the church, but it's also a great lesson for us as well. Before I get into the lesson, I want to say, that about a week ago, we spent some time praying for a pastor in our area who was undergoing some persecution, and there was some effort to try to unseat him because of some reasons. And so, without getting into too much of the weeds on that, I just wanted to report that his position was spared. That he is still the pastor of the church, and so he's garnered quite a bit of support. And so we want to continue to pray for that church and all the churches in our area. Here's the bottom line: Cornerstone Church can have 2 and 3 and 4 and 10 services, and we still won't have enough room. Every church in our area could be packed, filled to capacity every single Sunday, and we would not have enough room for all the people that are just in Oxford, never mind the surrounding towns that we represent. And so we need to see churches, especially in only churches that are preaching the Bible and that are being led by the Holy Spirit. Man, those churches, we just need the Holy Spirit to just activate and the people, the church itself, go out and to be a blessing in our communities. So just continue to pray for not just for that church, but for all of our churches in our area, because there are tons of souls that need Jesus. All right, I see Renee Galuzzi's jumped on. God bless you. Good to see you, Anna and Joe. Welcome. We've got others over here. Tom Keefe and Kathy has jumped on. God bless you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so back to part 3 of Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. And today I want to talk about communication. Whether you're in a dating relationship or whether you're married, even in friendships, this is just really, really important. James chapter 9 and verse 1 says this. It says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear and slow to speak and slow to anger." Quick to hear. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't just jump to your conclusion. Don't just put your heels in on your stance. Don't just look at something and say, "No, I'm standing on this." This is how I feel like listen, I mean, I don't mean to get too far in the political weeds here, but there's what's happening in Canada with this convoy. Like the people are speaking, but the leadership is just not listening, and they're just digging their heels in, and it's becoming really a standoff. And the truth is like in a relationship, it's the same way. If we just decide we're not giving in, we're not going to compromise, we're not going to listen to what the other person's saying. This is how it is, and I am not changing my mind. Then there's no communication. There's a breakdown. What's up, Veronica? Good to see you. There's a breakdown in our communication. And communication, being able to accurately communicate, that doesn't mean just talking. That also means hearing. In fact, it means more hearing than talking. But did you know that lack of communication is the number one reason for divorce? That's the number one reason. 2/3 of divorces were attributed to a communication breakdown. I mean, usually there's other reasons that attribute to the divorce, but if you boil it down, it started with a lack of being able to communicate how I feel, or what I'm not feeling, or what I'm dissatisfied with. And so most couples, in most homes, both the husband and wife, or the two couples in a relationship, they both work. They both are dealing with parenting problems from different perspectives. They both have house responsibilities, chores and upkeep. They both are involved in community or church, and have pressures and responsibilities outside of work and the home. And quite honestly, men aren't usually very good about expressing how they feel about things. Women are usually pretty good about overly expressing how they feel about things, and so then there becomes a tilt. And so Yehuda Berg said this. She said, "Words are singularly the most powerful force available to humanity. We can choose to use this force constructively, with words of encouragement, or destructively, using words of despair. Words have the energy and the power, with the ability to help, heal, hinder, hurt, harm, humiliate, and humble." That's a lot of H's, And let me tell you this: in a digital world that we live in, text messaging, when you're hot and you're upset or you're dissatisfied, is the worst way to communicate. 100%. Even if you're moderately irritated, do not communicate via text. People need to hear your intent. They need to understand the heart of the issue and where you're coming from, because not only are you frustrated, but you don't know what the person on the other side of the conversation is dealing with. And maybe they've got 9 things coming at them at once, and you rifle off some little, some text that's spirited text, that could be read one of 2 ways, and it just goes way down a rabbit hole that is not necessary. And that's where the hurt comes from. That's where harm comes from. And so we think, oh, well, all I said was this. I didn't mean it that way. And then we got more communication problems. So with communication, listen to me, this is the truth. Any problem can be solved with communication. Without communication, every molehill becomes an unscalable mountain. And that's just the truth. I mean, usually it's not really that big of a deal, but when we don't articulate and talk about it, then it becomes this mountainous thing and a separator between two people. A woman once said, sometimes I feel like I live on one island and he lives on another island, and neither of us can swim. And that's sometimes how we feel. We feel like we're like existing in the same ocean, but man, we can't communicate. And many couples who, when they start dating, you remember, like when you started dating, you could talk for hours. Remember the days of the landline phones, and you pick up the phone and you just talk for hours. And people, important calls are trying to come through and to get the busy signal, right? And you could talk on the porch, you could talk in the phone, you could talk in the car, you could talk on a walk, you could talk on the beach. But then you get married, and then fast forward 20 years, and it seems like you have nothing more you can talk about, nothing that constructive you can say to each other. There seems like there's this breakdown of interest, and it's something that we've got to be deliberate in. Don't think for a minute that your spouse is not interested in the things that interest you. They are, at least moderately, right? Men have a responsibility to communicate. The Bible says in Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 5, it says to stay at home and bring happiness to the wife which you have married. We have a responsibility, men, to kindle the relationship. We can't just set it and forget it. Well, I'm the provider and I brought home the bacon and she cooks it up in the pan, and that's our arrangement, and da 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 da. No, we have to be deliberate and constantly be figuring out ways to communicate and show the person who we made a vow to God to care for and to love, for better or for worse, how valuable they are. And to open up our heart. And I know that sounds, like it's emasculating us at sometimes, say, oh, well, I got to be tender and sensitive and vulnerable and blah, blah, blah. And we're supposed to be tough and rigid and hard and impenetrable. But we do need to learn to open up our heart to the person that we love, and to be able to communicate and share our feelings with the person who loves us so much that they vowed to give their rest of their life to live with you. So that, how does that happen? Well, it happens in a number of ways. My wife, she loves to take walks. I mean, she would walk from here to the moon if I would let her. I'll remember when we were young in our marriage, and we were and when she was working in pharmaceutical research company, and there was a lot of stress, and she had just, I don't know, 50 or 60 people underneath her, and it was just a tremendous amount of stress, tremendous deadlines. She had to write reports for the FDA, all kinds of stuff, and it was just really, really high pressure. And she would come home, and we would go to the gym, and there was this running track, and we used to just go around the track, and she would just unload, blah, 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 and she just sharing all the things, and we got a lot of miles in before we even knew it, because it was her way of communicating. She loves to communicate while we're going on walks. Me, I love to go out to breakfast. I love to just get up early, like I'm talking early, like early in the morning before the sun, and go find a place that's 24 hours and just go have breakfast together with my wife and just talk. Some people ride bikes. I mean, that's exhausting to me, but but the point is this: you do something that breaks up the monotony of life. If you go on a hike, if you go for a drive, if you go sit on the beach, if you maybe it's just sitting in the living room and turning off your cell phones and just having a cup of coffee and just talking for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes, and just communicate. And I promise you, science has shown and has proven that if you will spend 15 minutes with just communicating verbally, that it escalates all of the physical needs that we have in marriage, and makes that side of it much better. So you fill in the blanks. All right. So, but let me just say this: don't let disagreements be destructive. You're going to disagree with people. You're going to disagree with me. You're going to disagree with your spouse. There's going to be disagreements. There's a pattern that you should not follow when it comes to disagreements, and that's the pattern of the world. The world's pattern of giving your spouse the silent treatment, not good. Bitter criticism, not helpful. Hurling insults at them, stupid. It is not constructive. I just hurled an insult at the concept of hurling an insult. How about that? And here's the worst one: assuming that you already know what they're going to say and not allowing them to communicate. That is so disrespectful and so belittling. And so that's the world's way of doing it, though. The world's way is, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm just going to just pound this in until you secede. And that's not the way God created us. He created us with 2 ears, 1 mouth. We're supposed to be slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen. So, but a fruitful and a healthy argument, each partner explains the position that they hold, why he or she is upset. And the other person listens with their mouth shut, and not just hears, but listens with respect to the position that your spouse has. Long-term happy couples tend to argue calmly. They don't lose control. They don't go into yelling. They don't go into crying fits, because the thing is when conversation escalates, it seldom resolves the problem. It just buries it. And so healthy arguments are just that. They're healthy. It's good communication. And couples whose relationships survive have learned to keep the lid on arguments, and they work to de-escalate the emotion so that they can speak to each other civilized. Oftentimes in the first year of marriage, a man speaks and the woman listens. In the second year of marriage, the woman speaks and the man listens. In the third year, they both speak and the neighbor listens. And that's there's a little humor, but that tends to be the case, right? Guys, try this. Try praising your wife once in a while, out of the blue, even if it scares her at first, and she's like, "What do you want?" Make it a practice. Each of you, make it a practice that you're just today. I want to say 5 positive things to my spouse. I'm just gonna, throughout the day, I'm just gonna drop 5 positive praise bombs on them, and they may not know what to do with it. And especially if you have something negative to say, back it up with 5 positive things, because it takes 5 times the good to cover one bad comment, one stinging comment. And I will tell you, it makes a difference. Let me close with this. Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 11 says this. It says, a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in a setting of silver. This is the Bible. Listen to this. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in a setting of silver. Like a gold ring or an ornament of gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear. Like a cold of snow in the time of harvest is a faithful messenger to those who send him. He refreshes the soul of his masters. Like clouds and winds without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. With patience, a ruler may be persuaded. A soft tongue will break a bone. So in what the writer of Proverbs is saying here is he's saying, when you communicate, when you place words in the right context, in the right time, they're fitly spoken words, they are life-giving. But if they are misappropriated words, then it's like a storm cloud. And you get to choose. That's the power of the tongue. Life and death rests in the power of the tongue. You can bless somebody, bless your spouse especially, if you communicate care, if you communicate interest, if you communicate love, then they will walk away from that conversation. And maybe they haven't communicated properly, but at least you've sown seeds that will grow in their hearts. And it tells them a message that says, look, I love you and I care about you and I respect you regardless of how you respond to my disagreement or to my opinion. I'm just trying to communicate it the way God would have me communicate it. And so that's it, guys. I mean, it's an easy thing to learn, but we just kind of have to get over ourselves sometimes and get past our own pride and humble ourselves and realize, because there's a difference. There's a price in being right. Let me put it that way. Sometimes it's better to be together than to be right. We don't always have to prove our point. Sometimes it's better to just agree to disagree. Sometimes it's better to really just stop, and instead of proving your point, take time to listen to their perspective. And at the end of it, you might get 2 days down the road and be like, no, I still disagree. But at least you've given it a fair chance. So anyway, I could go on and on. I know it's time to go. We got busy days. God bless you guys. Thank you for being on DDPC today. I hope that this has been helpful to you in some way. And tomorrow is Thursday, so I will see you tomorrow. God bless you.